Hello, world, and welcome to the Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. My name is Dave. It is MLS opening weekend. I'm here with my brothers, Christian and Matt. Christian, you excited about MLS opening weekend?
I can't wait to get it started. I'll be there for the opener of all MLS this weekend, Dave, so let's get it going.
Matt, what about you?
Very excited for the MLS to start. I couldn't wait for it. I marked my calendar, waiting for this weekend.
All right, me too. Very excited. Let's get right into things. Things are kicking off this Saturday, March 2nd. Philadelphia Union is hosting Toronto FC, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen in this match?
All right, well, all I got to say here is doop, doop, doop. Here we go. I think the Union come out with a win in this game. I think it's going to be a very closely contested match. Josie Altidore just signing an extension to 2022 with Toronto. I saw today that was announced.
Breaking news.
And yeah, so he is extending his stay. He's going to be there pretty long term at this point if he stays and sees out that contract. I think he's going to have a bigger year this year. Toronto were down last year. Philadelphia Union have definitely improved in areas where they definitely needed to improve. Still a little young at the back. They probably will concede, but I see them scoring goals and winning this by a score of 2-1.
Matthew, what's going to happen in the match for you?
For me, I think it's a time for the Union to kind of turn things around, and the Toronto to turn things around, where they're kind of on a decline, losing Giovinco this summer, or well, I guess this offseason, not the summer. But I think it's a transition period for them. Bradley's getting older, Altidore's getting older. I think it's a transition period. I think the Union are going to step it up this year. So I think Union are going to pull this off. I like the 2-1 scoreline.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement on Union victory. I'm actually going to go a little bit bolder and say they get a 2-goal victory, either a 3-1 or a 2-0 victory. 3 reasons why. CONCACAF Champions League for Toronto, their focus has been pulled in different directions, and they didn't really perform well in that competition. Number 2, TFC is in transition. You guys already touched on it. Also in the front office, they have a lot of changes happening. There's going to be a lot of roster turnover. This might be a rebuilding year. And number 3, for the Union, they finally have a little bit of tactical flexibility, which they haven't had in years. They're going to have different formations. They're going to have players that can fit into different lineups, and I'm really, really excited about all of that. Now, I do have 2 areas of concern. I am a Union fan, full disclosure, as you can tell by the scarves back here. Medunjanin fitting into the new high press system for the Union, I have some concerns about that. And also, the Union are relying heavily on youth and MLS Academy products. So, they have to mesh well and really be able to step up. But I'm predicting the Union with a 2-goal victory. Christian, anything else to add?
Nope.
Matthew?
No.
All right, let's move things right along here. We got Orlando City hosting New York City FC, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Matthew, what do you expect to happen in this one?
For me, I think New York City is going to pull this one off. Sorry, I was trying to get my phone up. I think they have much more talent. They lost Villa this summer, or did it again this offseason. I think that's a big step down, but I still think they have more talent. I think they're better coached and just a better run organization at this point. I think it's going to be hard for Orlando to make the playoffs this year, considering what they did last year.
Christian, what are you expecting to happen here?
Well, it sounds like Matt has that summertime sadness. In other news, I think Orlando FC is going to have some more sadness this season. I don't think that they have the talent this year. I know they brought in Nani. It's going to be Nani versus no Villa in this game, but it's going to be an interesting no Villa, meaning New York City lost Villa. I went with a little bit of a alliteration there, but it didn't really work too well. All right, so Nani breaking through at Orlando City. First time we're seeing him in quite a while, it seems. He was a former Manchester United player coming over. Maybe he is a star that they're going to bring through. Kaká is now gone. David Villa definitely is a huge loss for New York City. I still think they have a better squad overall, and they're going to get a road win here, probably in a scoring 2-1 victory again.
I'm actually going the other way. New York City FC is gonna really miss David Villa. Dome Turin, I'm not sure how great of a manager he really is. He didn't do great in the summertime. Now, they had some injuries and things like that. Angel Herrera is gone, and I don't know how well he's going to be able to be replaced. And again, I just haven't seen enough from New York City FC. Orlando City was absolutely terrible last year, but I think that they have a full offseason. They went out, they got a couple veterans, Tesho Akindele, Danilo Acosta, if he can handle his off-field issues, and they've retooled as far as veterans are concerned. I don't expect them to compete in the long run, but I think they're going to have a shock upset victory in this first match, maybe even a 2-0 victory there. Matthew, anything else to add here?
No.
Christian?
No.
All right, let's keep it moving right along. New York Red Bulls are visiting Columbus Crew. I don't know why I said it that way and put it this way. Columbus Crew is the home team. New York Red Bulls are the away team. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen in this match for you?
This match is a very, very interesting one. I think Columbus have that feel-good factor that they have their team, and it looked like they were going to lose it for a large portion of last season. They, I do not think, have the talent to really compete with New York. I think that they are probably hovering around that playoff spot. They are definitely a mid-table to maybe upper mid-table type of team. New York Red Bulls is arguably the best run club probably in the country right now, which really hurts me to say as a Union fan, but it is the way that it is. And I think that they're going to, I don't know. This is going to be a very, very interesting match. I know there's a lot of draws in MLS, so I'm going to go with my first draw pick of this stage, and I'm going with a 0-0 draw actually here in a defensive standout.
Interesting. Matt, what do you expect to happen here?
I was going to say draw, but after hearing that, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go win for Columbus Crew. I think it's going to be an emotional game after, almost losing the team. They're going to try to, prove something for their fans. I think it could be an inspired performance. I think New York is a little bit more talented, but I think Columbus can kind of ride the high of the emotion of the fans and pull this one through 1-0.
I am predicting a high-scoring draw. So not a 0-0, but a high-scoring draw. New York Red Bulls, they're playing in CONCACAF Champions League. Last year, we saw them go all in into that tournament and play pretty much a second squad early in the MLS season. I think they learned from that and are going to play a somewhat mixed roster in this game, so they'll still be competitive. And you know what you're getting from New York. Like Christian said, they're very well run, high press system. They like to create chaos. I think losing Tyler Adams is going to be a bigger deal than some people are expecting. I mean, he's just a fantastic player, and I don't know if Sean Davis and Christian Caceres can really fill his role. Conversely, Columbus, awesome, saved the crew, worked, but Porter coming in, Tim Bezapachenko in the front office, they're in a period of transition. They have a talented roster, but with Zach Steffen leaving in the summertime and some of those other things that are happening, I think it's going to be an interesting sort of year in Columbus. I expect them to do fairly well, be competing for playoff spots. But again, in this match, to get things started, high scoring, maybe a 2-2 draw. Christian, anything else to add here?
Nope.
Matthew?
No.
All right, let's keep it going. FC Dallas, if I can get the paper off, is hosting New England Revolution, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Matt, what's going to happen in this match?
I think neither team are going to, impress too much this season. I'm going to say that it's going to be a draw this game. I'm not expecting too many goals. I'm going to say 1-1, and I don't think either team necessarily has the edge over the other.
Christian?
Interestingly enough, I'm going to disagree. I think FC Dallas are always that team that are hovering around the Western Conference and towards the top end. And I think they're definitely a playoff team again. I think they have the talent. They might not be as good as they have been in prior years, but I still think that they are far least superior to New England Revolution right now. And the Revolution, I think, are probably going to be one of the worst teams in MLS this year. I think this is an easy win, maybe even 3-0 to FC Dallas.
Fair enough. I'm going to side a little bit more with Matthew there. FC Dallas hired Luchi Gonzalez. He is a coach coming up from their youth ranks, and so FC Dallas is really going with a commitment to youth this year. I'm excited to see Paxton Pomykal hopefully get starting in an attacking role, but he may end up coming off the bench. New England, like Christian said, they're a little bit of a mess. The whole Diego Fagundes situation, he's still in New England, though he came out and said that he doesn't want to be there anymore. I don't know how Friedel is handling all of that. Carlos Gil was signed into the league, and it'll be interesting to see if he can fill some of the voids that exist in that New England roster. I know Dallas has looked good in preseason, and New England has been relatively terrible, but I don't put too much stock in the preseason. I expect it to be somewhat of a cagey, a really tight match with neither side being able to get a goal and maybe ending up 0-0, which wouldn't be the greatest match. But again, I'm not expecting too many things from this. Matt, anything else to add here?
No.
Christian?
Nope.
Rapids versus Timbers, next match coming to you 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. I think, Matt, no, Christian, you're first this time. What's going to happen in this match?
Well, it looks like we're in for one final ride, Tim Howard. This is your swan song of a season, and I am hoping that he goes out on top as much as he possibly can, other than the Union beating him in the final. And I would love to see him have a great season here. I know he's been getting older and slower and not as good as he's gotten older, obviously, but he's still a legend, arguably one of the most important players in U.S. soccer history. And I hope the best for him. That being said, I don't think that they have any shot. I think that the Timbers are a better squad. Diego Valeri is obviously one of the star players in the league, always, always, always up for MVP. He is very, very talented, always is either scoring or assisting goals. And the Timbers are just, I think, a better run club and going to come into Colorado and get a win in the first week. Probably only 1-0, but I think it's going to be a Timbers win. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with Christian. I'm not going to praise Tim Howard too much. I think he should have probably retired last year. I think Colorado is going to have another rough season. I don't think they have too much talent on the top end. And or even throughout the squad. No offense.
Tegan Rosenberry.
Yeah, I think Portland is far superior and will handle this pretty easily.
All right, I'm going the other direction with this. I loved what Colorado has done this offseason. They learned. Anthony Hudson came in as manager last season. He tried to bring in players that he knew from overseas in Europe. Didn't work out whatsoever. Colorado was more or less pretty terrible. This offseason, they learned from that mistake. They went out. They got Keegan Rosenberry, Benny Failhaber. I'm combining them. Hey-o, there's a little nickname for
Benny.
Kai Kamara. They also signed Diego Rubio, Kellen Acosta. They got in midseason, so he's been there a full off season now, and I like that. They really doubled down on MLS talent. I expect them to be much more competitive this season. Conversely, Timbers were great. Made a run to MLS Cup. I thought Giovanni Savarese showed that he was very adaptable, and I love that from the manager. But Diego Chara and Diego Valeri are getting older. I don't expect them to drop off too much, but at some point they're going to start falling off. And I actually like Colorado to come out and get a tight win, maybe a 1-0 or 2-1 in this match. Christian, any other thoughts?
You're wrong.
Matthew, any thoughts?
No.
Next match we got is Houston Dynamo hosting Real Salt Lake. There it is, getting the paper out from behind there. That's happening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Matthew, what do you expect to happen in this match?
I expect Houston to win. As I am moving there, I am very excited for the Houston team. Hopefully I can get to a parade if it's not the Union winning. Yeah, I think both teams are going to be pretty closely matched. Hopefully Houston edges them out. I think they're going to get a 1-goal win, maybe 3-2, 2-1, something like that.
That'd be exciting. Christian, what do you think is going to happen in this match?
I'm a little sad that Matt's selling out and just supporting the team of the city that he's moving to instead of still supporting the Union. But, it is what it is. He never really was a Union supporter, so I guess we're just going to keep on moving here. I think the Dynamo are probably going to get a win just because they have home field advantage in this game. I think that's such a big thing in MLS. You really see it a lot. And Real Salt Lake are a average team, I want to say. I don't think that they're that great. Last year they didn't even make the playoffs, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, they right at the end. No, I'm sorry. They actually snuck in right at the end, and they actually beat LAFC in the first leg. So they snuck into the playoffs.
Okay. I think that they were really, really poor at the start of last year, and they had a run and they got in. That's what I'm remembering. And I just don't think that they have the talent to really compete with with a lot of the teams in MLS. Houston aren't really one of the top teams, but I still think that they're going to sneak a win. And I'm going to go with another 1-0 victory here.
Yeah, so I have a Houston victory as well, but I'm not very confident in this matchup. Houston moved on in CONCACAF Champions League. And again, that just sort of throws off MLS teams, especially at the start of the season. Houston's attacking trio of Kyoto, Elise, and Minotas is fantastic, but I don't know how much they're going to play in this match. They had a little bit of rotation in CCL play over this week. It's incredible that Tamarcus Beasley is still playing, and he looks good. Like, I was watching him in CONCACAF Champions League. He still looks fast as ever. That guy's just going to play for forever. It'll be interesting to see how RSL is going to manage the whole Kyle Beckerman situation. I think at this point he's getting too old to be a day in, day out starter, and how they're going to transition all of that out. And Justin Glad needs to step up and be better than he was last year. I'm interested to see how RSL plays. And again, Houston's going to be slightly distracted with CONCACAF Champions League. They're going to have to manage it. But again, home field advantage does go a long way in MLS. And so I could see, 1-0, 2-1 victory for Houston, like you guys said. Matt, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Christian?
Nope.
Final 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game on Saturday. Vancouver Whitecaps are hosting Minnesota United. Matthew, what do you expect to happen in this match?
I am expecting a 0-0 draw. I'm expecting a lack of creativity in this game and lack of form being this early in the season. I don't think either team are going to challenge for MLS Cup this year. So I think it's just going to be a pretty boring game here. I'm going to go 0-0.
Christian?
If there was one game that I was not looking forward to this weekend, I'd probably pick this one. I don't mean to be disrespectful, even though I was to you guys that are fans of those two teams, but I can't see this going to be an entertaining game. I think that both teams are pretty slow in their build. I just don't think that they are very pacey and just fun, attacking, creative types of teams. I think Vancouver might be slightly better than Minnesota, and I guess it just depends on the day. I see this one probably in like a 1-1 draw here. I don't think either team is strong defensively or creative attackingly.
Interesting. Matt yawned during that segment, which goes to show how interested he is in it. I'm fascinated by this matchup, not because I think it's going to be the highest scoring or whatnot, but both these teams went through a huge period of transition this offseason. Vancouver basically overhauled their entire roster. They brought in Marc Dos Santos as the new manager, who has had success everywhere he's kind of been. But again, it's a huge question mark on how all of that is going to fit together. And I think there's going to be a little bit of chaos, a little bit of an adjustment period early in the season. Minnesota, conversely, seems to have learned from their first 2 seasons in MLS, where they were absolutely terrible in the back. They went out, they got Ozzy Alonso, they went out, got Ike Oparo. They're going to strengthen the spine. Also, Minnesota is very, very old from the perspective of the starting lineup and the people that are going to be contributing. And so I think that'll help them early in the season. I don't know how well it's going to translate towards, the back half of the season and if some of those players are going to get worn down. But I'm going to have Minnesota nicking a 1-0 road victory in this matchup. Matt, anything else to add here?
Nope.
Christian?
Nope.
Third to last. LA Galaxy is hosting the Chicago Fire, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, March 2nd, Saturday. I think, Christian, you're first this time. What do you expect to happen in this one?
I can only see an LA victory here. I think Chicago did improve slightly in the offseason, but I don't think that they're going to really be challengers again in the East. And I think LA Galaxy is ready to challenge in the West. I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic obviously is now a year. Well, I guess he's 6 months into his playing career in MLS.
No, he came in like May, so he wasn't he wasn't the summertime.
Okay, but he's definitely accustomed to MLS now. He is the man that seems to never age and is just a genius on the ball, just doing ridiculous things at all times. I'm so excited to watch him again. And I think LA does need to still figure out what's going on with their DP situation, right? That's really the only thing that I think LA is worried about right now. Other than that, they are ready to challenge, and I think they are one of the most talented teams, especially in the West.
Yeah, and full disclosure, we're recording this February 28th, so Thursday, and Giovanni Dos Santos is still a designated player for the Galaxy, and so something needs to happen over the next 2 days. So we'll be following that. Matt, what do you expect to happen in this match?
I'm going to agree with Christian. I think LA Galaxy is going to, be ready to challenge this season. Ibra, I think he competes every league he's been in. And I think, last year, not even making the playoffs in MLS and losing, the last game of the season where if they won, they would have been in, kind of motivating him. And I think he's going to take it a lot more seriously this year and get the team ready. And I expect big things from LA Galaxy this season. And I'm going to go with a multi-goal victory, maybe 3-1.
I'm going to agree with that as well. You have a motivated Zlatan. You have a new manager in Guillermo Barros Schelotto. Hey, pretty good pronunciation, I got to say. I didn't stumble over my words there, and then I stumbled over the word over. But yeah, no, I think that Galaxy are going to win this match relatively easily. They do still have some question marks along the back line. The Fire, though, for me, defensively, they still have some glaring weaknesses. They lost Andrew Gutman, their homegrown player, to Celtic, and then the whole loan situation happened. Brandon Vincent just up and retired at 24 years old. Matt Polster moved on to Rangers, and I don't think they've really replaced a lot of those players. I'm excited to see Georgi Mihailovic and see how he, develops and continues to grow as a player. But I don't see the Fire getting a result in this match. I think the Galaxy are going to cruise comfortably here. Christian, anything else to add?
I guess I'll just go with 3-1 victory as well.
Matthew, anything you want to add?
No.
All right. Second to last match. I keep wanting to say last match, but it's not. Second to last match here. San Jose Earthquakes are hosting the Montreal Impact out here in California, San Jose, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Matthew, what do you expect to happen in this match?
I'm not expecting too much from this match. I don't think either team are going to challenge for MLS Cup this year. I think home field advantage is going to help San Jose get a draw. I don't think they're as good as Montreal, but I think they're going to get a result here, maybe a 1-1 draw.
Christian?
At this point, I feel like no team's going to MLS Cup with the way Matt starts each segment here. It seems like this is – I do agree with this one. No, I mean, like, you did start that
like 2 games.
I'm just saying, just watch it. You're going to upset the fans. I don't see anything from this game. I think San Jose does get a win out of it, but Montreal seems to always beat the Union, and I don't understand why, because I swear they're never that good. San Jose, they were one of the worst teams in MLS last year. I think that they're going to rebound a little bit this year. I know they've done a little bit of business in the offseason. I know Dave lives down the street from their stadium as well, so I know he's going to be slightly rooting for them, but not too much. And
really look for the Bros Talking Soccer stickers around the stadium, though.
No, absolutely. And if you're at Talent Energy, please do the same. Or if you go to, what is it, BVB Compass? Is that
very good?
Yeah, no.
Or the Allianz, there's some stickers around there.
Yeah, Allianz Arena. There you go. Check it out.
In Munich.
Yes. But yeah, I just think San Jose is able to see this one out. I'm guessing like a 2-0 victory. I don't think Montreal are that stacked of a squad, but San Jose, make a statement early. Maybe they're going to compete this year, but not for MLS Cup, as Matt would say.
Interesting. I think that's a pretty bold pick for them to win 2-0. I'm with Matt. I think it's going to be a draw, relatively low scoring, 0-0 or 1-1. I like Matias Almeida. I think that was a great hire by San Jose, but I think it's going to be a little bit more of a long-term project. I don't think they've done enough with their roster right now to really have a ton of confidence from my perspective. Conversely, on the Montreal side, I really like the way that they ended the year. They didn't ultimately make the playoffs, but they really started to turn things around after a slow start. Remy Gard started to understand kind of how MLS works. And so with a full offseason, I expect them to be much better. But I do have concerns about Piatti getting older. I mean, he is such an influential player to them. And I want to say he's 34 this year, maybe even older. And so at some point, he's going to start to take some steps back. And I think, the Earthquakes, motivated at home in their first match, find a way to sort of get a result, even if it is a draw in this one. So I'm going to agree with Matt on that one. Matt, anything else you want to add here?
No.
Christian?
I wonder if you're ever going to agree with me, because you agreed with Matt on every single point he's made.
You got to have a little bit more self-confidence. And
I'm not worried about it. I know you both are just going to be wrong.
Okay. All right. So there it is. All right. Final match, Seattle versus Cincinnati on Saturday, March 2nd. That's taking place at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got the expansion, FC Cincinnati playing their first match. Christian, what are you expecting to happen in this one?
Boo. Second team in Ohio. Boo. All right. So I'm not really going to be honest. I'm probably not going to watch this one. But I think Seattle are a better team, obviously. This is a brand new Cincinnati team. They're going to be, I guess, competitive for now. But there's not really much I know about their team. I think that it's not going to be one of those like New York City was, where they hired or brought in a lot of good players when they first came in, or like Kaká at Orlando, or Atlanta's whole team. It's not going to be anything like that. Cincinnati are going to struggle this season. I'm going to say that right now. And I see Seattle just showing their experience in this game and seeing it through pretty comfortably, probably 3-0 victory again.
Yeah, for a little bit of context there, Christian went to Penn State and does not like the state of Ohio because of the rivalry with schools. That explains the booing. He has nothing against Cincinnati, the city, or the team. Just for a little bit of context there. Yeah. Matthew, what do you expect to happen in this one?
Yeah, I think Seattle is going to handle them comfortably, playing at home at night. The great fans there, the great atmosphere. I think it's just something that team's used to handling. Cincinnati, for a team that, can't even get uniforms, I think they're going to have a tough time.
We talked about that on the podcast, and so I don't fault them for that. But I'm going to agree with you, with both of you. Christian, are you happy? I'm agreeing with you. Multi-goal victory for the Sounders here. Healthy Jordan Morris coming back. Christian Roldan continues to progress as a player. I know I had my doubts early in his career, but he's proven me wrong, and he's been fantastic. Nico Lodero's always been impactful. They do need to figure out a way to replace Ozzy Alonso. It's not going to be easy, but I think they find a way to cope. Keep an eye on Chad Marshall. I mean, he's getting older there, and that they may have to figure out a transition plan with that. But FC Cincinnati, again, making their debut, they decided to bring up a lot of USL players and then supplemented that with a lot of defensive midfielders and defenders. I think they don't want to end up like Minnesota and just giving up boatloads of goals. And so I respect them for doing that. I just don't think they have enough attacking wise, even though they have Fernando Adi, Darren Maddox, and Kaku Damane. I don't think they have anybody to get them the balls in dangerous situations. So I worry about them scoring goals this year, and particularly in this match. Seattle generally does start the MLS season slow, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I don't think they start this one slow. I think Seattle gets a pretty large victory in this one, 2-3 goals, or more. Christian, any other thoughts here?
Nope.
Matthew?
No.
Let's move on to Sunday, March 3rd. 2 games happening here, both on national TV. DC United is hosting Atlanta United in the Battle of the Uniteds. Christian, what do you expect to happen in this one?
Well, Atlanta are significantly the better team, but I think DC come out brand new stadium, kind of. I mean, it's their first full season in the stadium, right? They weren't in there all of last year, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be a great atmosphere in DC. I think that it's going to be a draw, a goal-scoring draw, because I can't see Atlanta not getting goals at this point. They are so talented. I think Rooney does get off to a scoring start this season. Acosta staying is a huge benefit for DC right now, with PSG was lurking and trying to steal him away. I think DC's back line is way weaker than Atlanta's is, and it's a bit of a concern for them overall. But I think DC's attacking impetus is going to be very just get them through this match with a draw at home.
Matthew, thoughts on this match?
Yeah, so I think Atlanta's going to struggle without Almiron now. Just going forward, I know they still have a lot of firepower. The record MLS goal scorer, Martinez up front, but I just have so much faith in Wayne Rooney, just for whatever reason. Just always defending him, so I think he's going to be still the best player on the field. I doubt Dave will agree with that, but I think he's going to help him get over the edge, and I think they're going to edge this one out 2-1.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to agree he's the best player on the pitch, but I agree he is a very talented player. I have nothing against Wayne Rooney, so I don't know what that comment was.
No. You just don't think he's that good anymore.
Yeah, well, so he's an effective player, and he's still very good and talented from an MLS perspective. He works his ass off and all of that. And so, I have nothing against Wayne Rooney, so I don't know why this conversation is becoming that. So let's steer it back to this actual match. DC United, full offseason with Acosta and Rooney. I think that's going to be hugely beneficial for them, as well as Russell Canals fully healthy. I know he experienced some issues throughout the season last year, so it's good that they're starting the season with all of them. Also, they're settled into their new stadium. They obviously had the huge bounce coming into Audi Field, and starting the season that way is going to be very helpful. I also think the Acosta situation is going to be a little bit precarious in how he responds to all of that, because it's a huge letdown for him not to have moved to PSG. And so he can approach it 2 ways. He can approach it where he's kind of sulking and it's tough for him to stay motivated and feeling sorry for himself, or he can use it as motivation that, hey, PSG was looking at me. If I play well again, maybe they come back, or maybe another team, comes back. So it'll be interesting to monitor all of that. From an Atlanta perspective, we're recording this before they played their second leg in the CCL. They did not look good in the first leg. They looked incredibly disjointed all over the pitch. Defensively, they were a bit of a mess. In the midfield, Barco and Pity Martinez looked like they were very ball dominant, and everything wasn't flowing together. So I was very concerned about all of that. We'll see if they correct that here. I'm going to lean to this being a draw, but if I have to pick a winner, I'm going to favor DC United a little bit more in that one. De Boer coming in, the new manager, implementing a new system, having the players sort of get settled, and obviously CONCACAF Champions League play is just going to throw off Atlanta to start this season. So that's why I'm going to slightly favor DC, but I think that this ends up being kind of a high-scoring draw. Anything else to add, Matthew?
No.
Christian?
No.
Final match here, we have LAFC taking on Sporting Kansas City, two teams that I think are going to be probably the two strongest in the Western Conference. Absolutely wonderful nightcap to MLS opening weekend. Matthew, what do you expect to happen in this one?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an entertaining one. I think both these teams do have a shot at the MLS Cup, Christian.
Oh, there you go.
Wow, look at these guys. Yeah, I think home field advantage is going to help LAFC. I'm going to go with a 3-2 victory. I think both teams are, very talented, but I think the home field opening weekend's just going to help LAFC a little bit more.
Christian?
At some point, you got to think Vermees is overstaying his welcome at Sporting. It just seems like he's been there, right? No? I feel like he's been there forever, and I understand that they're still grinding results out, but, they're not actually winning that much, I feel like. I guess maybe early on he was.
I don't agree with that. They won the Open Cup last year.
Nah, I'm not. Nah. I don't like that team. I'm just going to throw it out there, guys. They have been a thorn in my side for the entirety of the Union's existence, and I'm done with them. I think that I don't really like the way that they play. I think that they've had a couple players who are a little bit of a diving reputation and a little bit dirty. And I still think that they're a good squad, but I think they're a little old. I think that their system's getting a little bit played out. And I feel like at some point people are just going to figure them out because they're not refreshing at all in 10 years. So I think LAFC does end up winning this game. I don't think Sporting KC is an MLS Cup threat this year. I think LAFC is definitely, and it'll be interesting to see how they kick off the season. I do think that they're going to come out of this game with maybe a 3-1 win to round off week one.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to disagree on a couple points there. So, Vermees has been there for so long, but he's proven effective, there. So I don't think he needs to be replaced. If we would have recorded this 2 weeks ago before CONCACAF Champions League play opened up, I think I would have agreed with you. But after watching them in Champions League, excuse me, after watching them in Champions League, do you guys want to talk for a sec?
Sure. I think after watching them in Champions League, they have done somewhat better than we expected coming into the season. Pretty sure that's where Dave's going with this. And they're very organized. And it's just he does find a way to refresh them each year.
Yeah, I'm battling a little bit of a sickness, and I was doing great until our very last segment. So apologies there. I love the way that they played in Champions League. They possessed the ball very, very well. I thought that they were able to pass out of pressure and just looked really, really good. And I was all set to say they were going to have a down year. I was going to proclaim that, the players were aging out. But, especially these first matches, they proved me wrong. So I'm not going to pick against them heavily in the early part of the season. If they can keep it up over the course of the year, that'll be something to keep an eye on. But, I would have agreed with you 2 weeks ago, Christian, but after watching them in Champions League, I'm going to disagree and say SKC is a cup favorite. Now, having said all of that, with the distraction of Champions League, LAFC is so strong. I really like Bob Bradley. Bob Bradley and Peter Vermees are probably two of the best managers in MLS. I'm going to slightly favor Bob Bradley in this one and give LAFC the edge for a victory at home to get the year started off correctly, or get the year started off on the right foot, not correctly. And so that's what I'll follow and expect from this one. Matthew, anything to add in closing to wrap up here?
No.
Christian, what about you?
Dupe.
All right. There you go. Everybody, hope you enjoy opening weekend in MLS. We'll be following. We'll be excited. Apologies for that coughing fit at the end there. And this has been Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. We'll be back with another video soon. Have a good one. See ya.